My husband, Ben, 36, and his ex-wife, Kate, 34, share 2 kids, both teens. Split custody 50-50. No monthly child support, but Ben pays all insurance, med cost, extracurriculars, and has to put $150 in a college fund each month. I have a teen daughter myself. Ben made a base income, but got bonuses and commissions. On commission checks, he would send Kate 50% of it. On bonuses, he would send Kate 35%. This was not court-ordered, but very regular. Well, Ben was in a wreck, couldn't work 5 months, got fired. Legal called lawyer, took 3 months to find another job that could cater to his new disabilities, but took a huge pay cut and no more bonuses and commission. I paid all bills plus his child obligations, even the average sum of what he sent Kate extra per month during this time. After realizing his pay wouldn't recover, we talked to Kate and told her that we could no longer afford to send her extra as we weren't making it. She seemed to understand. During this time period, my child turned 16 and saved up $4,000 for a car. I've always promised to match whatever they save. This money was already put away. We got a car for $6,000. My kid pays her own insurance and gas. Ben's teen daughter saw and somehow got Kate to lease her a car in fairness. Kate did not consult us about it. Next month, she hits us up for money. After some discussion, she assumed we figured out the money after seeing us buy my daughter a car. We explained that that's not the case, but she got so angry, cursing us, and ended up taking us to court for child support. The court determined that Kate makes significantly more than Ben, and she needs to pay $300 a month in child support for him and reimburse insurance. His past income didn't matter since he's now considered disabled. It's been about 3 months since, and Kate's entire family is blowing us up, telling us how horrible and evil we are, that Kate is being threatened with eviction, and Ben's daughter's car is being repoed. They say it's my fault, because Kate only leased it since she's expecting us to keep paying, that her paying child support means she can't afford her rent, and I'm spoiling my daughter playing favorites. Kate also says that my income plays a role since the kids live with me 50% of the time, so I'm horrible to deprive the kids. This makes me feel horrible. Am I the idiot here? I could pay, but I wouldn't be able to save since I'm paying more since Ben makes way less. Not the idiot. Spouses have nothing to do with the financial responsibility of a child. The bio parents are responsible for child support, point blank, and it's our own damn fault for assuming anything. Honestly, your husband was way more generous before the accident. Like, really? Had it been me, my ex would not have seen any of my bonus or commissions. She screwed herself in taking y'all to court. She made her bed, let her lie in it. She sounds very greedy and entitled to me, and y'all are doing 50-50. She's lucky she saw anything. I'm honestly shocked. Exactly. Any bonus or commission extras, I'd be putting into a college or savings account or directly buying things the kids needed, e.g. nicer upgrades for things they need for a sport or a hobby. I wouldn't have just handed it over directly to the ex. I hope that the extras were documented for when they went to court. Kate was foolish and greedy. She's now paying the consequences. This is also none of Kate's family's business, too. They don't get a vote. Block them. I just love the fact that Kate was cursing you and taking Ben to court, and yet she gets stuck paying child support? Wow, nothing like Schadenfreude. Disconnect your guilt button. You have nothing to feel guilty about or horrible about. Kate brought this on herself. You should not have to suffer. Honestly, OP should tell Kate's family that if they're so concerned, then they can help Kate out financially. Then block them. LOL, Kate makes significantly more money and somehow can't support fewer people? She's asking the one who makes significantly less to support her? No, she just wants to live above her means. Karma bit her butt when she was greedy. I, 28 female, have an obsessed wisdom tooth, and given that my jaw is so small, these wisdom teeth are chipping away at my molars one by one. My teeth are a mess. They don't always hurt, but most of the time there's a lot of pressure due to the lack of room, and if I bite down too hard, sometimes it sounds like my tooth is crunching. I was finally able to get a decent enough dental insurance, where I only had to cover $1,000 of the $4,500 bill to have these teeth removed, so I've been saving for over a year. Our rent keeps getting raised, and we have a very hard time keeping up. I had $1,050 saved last week and finally made the appointment for this Monday. Well, on Friday, my brother-in-law calls freaking out because he has been living in his car for like 2 years, and his car broke down, so he no longer had heat or any way to get to and from seeing his daughter, work, etc. My brother-in-law is one of those people my husband is very easily manipulated by and goes to the ends of the earth to help him, no matter the cost, because my brother-in-law uses the "I saved you when you were in foster care, you're the only person I have left" lines. They did not have a good life. Therefore, my husband feels he owes his brother the world, despite his brother being older. He also blames himself for how his brother turned out. So he calls and basically says he needs money to get his car fixed. Doesn't ask, just says, "Hey, I need $580 to get my car fixed." My husband didn't have the money, so he asked me, and I said that the money I had was for my teeth. Well, my husband starts pulling the silent treatment and gets all distraught, and then starts crying, saying he feels like a failure, and every time his brother called, he would start crying again, saying he was sorry and he would figure it out, and even tried selling off pretty much everything he had to get his brother the money. And it got to a point where he spoke about it so much that I basically threw the money at him, told him to shut up, and went off about how his family has been nothing but a burden to me, and that I was done, and that his brother had better not call ever again asking for anything. My husband again starts crying and asking me to see his view because his brother did save his life. I then packed and left to go to my mom's house. I'm being told that I took this too far and that I'm the idiot for allowing his waterworks to manipulate me into giving him the money to fix my teeth. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. There are other options to get help when you're homeless. There aren't a lot of help programs for dental issues, at least not where I live. He needs to stop depending on you and your husband and find other resources. An abscess can become very dangerous, especially in a tooth. Please divorce him and take good care of yourself and your teeth. When OP was packing, he should have just gone ahead and packed that money too and let hubby sell his stuff while crying alone. Wisdom teeth pain is no joke, and he's letting his brother manipulate his wife out of necessary treatment. He can cry all he wants at that point. Your health is more important. I wish you didn't give him the money. I hope your family can help you and you can pay them back. Don't go back to him unless you can get the money back and he goes to therapy, since he's too much of a pushover, and that will negatively affect your marriage forever. We both know this will never stop. You need to calmly sit down and think if you want the rest of your life to look like this. Everyone's the idiot. Brother-in-law sucks for lack of independence. Husband sucks for lack of a backbone. I totally see your point of view, and I would be majorly frustrated. That being said, I think if you had been able to communicate better, then there may have been a better outcome. You did let yourself be manipulated into giving him the money as opposed to standing on the no. Your husband needs to get into some serious therapy for these issues, or your marriage may very well end due to his inability to prioritize you. It's easier said than done, but stop letting your husband manipulate you, or your resentment will just grow. My 52 female daughter, 26, is a huge animal lover. So is her husband. They have 2 dogs and 1 cat. They're always covered in dog hair, and surprisingly, the cat doesn't shed as much as the dogs. They have those roll stickers to clean the dog hair from their clothes, and they do, but in their house, their carpets and couches need to be vacuumed every second day to keep them free of dog hair. I've got to admit though, they keep their pets very clean and groomed. After the dog walks, they have a ritual where they clean the dog's paws and hair that might have touched the ground. On Saturday, we had a little family get-together in our backyard. My daughter and her husband were present. My husband, my sister, her 2 daughters, their partners, and my brother with his sons. One of my brother's sons married his girlfriend of 1 year just before Christmas. At some point during the gathering, they started having a conversation about pets. One of my sister's daughters has a dog. My daughter has her pets. And as the convo went on, My nephew's wife made it clear how much she despises dogs and cats, and how she hates animals approaching her because she hates animal fur and can't stand when people have their pets that free in their houses. My niece with the dog surprisingly agreed with the nephew's wife, despite having her own dog. So then the cousins started talking about how they love pets, but they can't stand them on furniture, and how they low-key find them gross, etc. My nephew's wife pointed at my daughter and said, "Yeah, look, for example, I'd never be able to visit my daughter's name, house. She has 2 dogs and a cat. I can't imagine the dirt and fur in that place." To which my daughter aggressively replied, "Who said you'd be welcome in the first place? I didn't invite you, nor do I plan to." My nieces immediately told her that she was being rude and that my nephew's wife had a point. My sister then told her that she couldn't be serious, that she wouldn't invite people into her house because they don't like pets. My daughter insisted, "I wouldn't invite them. Why would I invite someone over if they think my place is gross?" My sister told her that she could make 1 or 2 adjustments for her non-pet fan guest for a few hours. My daughter said I could, but I don't have to, and I don't want to. That leaves us with the fact that none of you are ever welcome in my house. I called my daughter out on her behavior and told her she was rude. She told me to shut up, and I'm an idiot for defending people who pointed at her and insulted the way she chooses to live in her house. She then left with her husband. My husband also said I was an idiot, and I had no reason to call our daughter out because she was just defending herself. So, am I the idiot for this? You are the idiot. Your daughter didn't start this rudeness, but she sure as heck finished it. And actually, a lot nicer than most people would have. If you point at someone and say, "I hate your pets and I think your home is gross and filthy," then you don't get offended when they say you're not welcome in their home. Yup, if someone said this to me, I would have the same reaction. My pets are my family. That does not mean my house is filthy, but you can stay away from my house if you think my family's inherently gross. This was a completely unprovoked attack on the daughter. However, I think she handled herself well, considering. Also, I don't seriously hope that OP thinks her daughter will want to be around her anymore after just feeding her to the wolves like that, and then getting mad at her when she dares to try and defend herself. I've never been able to understand the people that think other people can be rude and disrespectful, and you're supposed to just absorb that crap like SpongeBob SquarePants. No standing up for yourself. Just stare blankly into the middle distance. It's such a terrible way to live your life. You are the idiot. Your nephew's wife, a family newcomer with an attitude problem, and your sister and nieces, apparently the crap stirrers in your crew, were attacking your child in front of you, maliciously slandering her. Rather than defend her, you dogpiled on her with them. You even admit your daughter goes out of her way to keep her dogs groomed and her house vacuumed, and that's still not enough to keep her from being berated on all fronts at a family barbecue, completely out of the blue, just because nephew's new wifey hates animals. And if I was your daughter, I wouldn't invite any of you over to my house. OP, do you like your daughter? Or are you just offended she's not squirting out people pups? You are the idiot. Please call your daughter and apologize before you lose her. I'm 19 female, a current college freshman, and I'm part of a student committee that reaches out to incoming students to help their transition into the school. For low-income students, defined as kids who will be on 100% financial aid when they come here, we're supposed to ask if they want to be part of special programs for low-income kids. A lot of programs exist to help them when they arrive. I met with an incoming student, 18 male, whose family income is around $65,000 a year. The cutoff for full financial aid at our school is an income of $70,000, and students with family incomes of up to around $200,000 typically get some percentage of aid. As one of the students on 100% aid, he's marked as low income and will be in the most economically disadvantaged 20% of students here. I was supposed to ask if he wants to be considered for special low-income tutoring programs, low-income social organizations, and other programs for disadvantaged kids. Our school offers a lot, since low-income kids usually struggle the most with their grades and getting involved when they arrive. The kid became very upset and started saying he's not low income or disadvantaged, and his parents have good jobs. He was extremely offended. I wasn't trained on what to say in such an instance, and it was awkward, so I just had to be like, well, your profile right here says you are. And he was mad. He was super upset when the meeting ended, which was counterproductive. Not the idiot, but your school couldn't have named it any better? Hey, do you want to sign up for poor kid help? You want government cheese, you poor bastard? Or hey, we got stuff for poor people like you, poverty McPoorface. I was 100% on financial aid, and no one referred to me as low income, ever. LOL, seriously though. This will be a lesson for OP, albeit a tough one. The way OP put it to that young man was so offensive. I also didn't care for the implication that kids from poorer households don't do as well in school. That's stereotyping at its finest, and so freaking untrue in my opinion, regardless of what will inevitably be quoted from statistics by someone here in the comments. I came from a very poor household, a daughter of a single mother who was a waitress her whole life, and I got straight A's, graduated with high honors, and did very well for myself without all the extras for poor people. You get what you work for. Sorry, you are the idiot. No idiots here. You were just doing your job. He has every right to be upset. It's interesting because I wouldn't consider someone making $65K a year low income. Some Googling is showing me that 54% of families in the US in 2020 had an income of less than $75K. So you are roughly saying half the country is low income? I can understand why he'd be offended. I had a bad childhood with an abusive mother, and I'm trying to do better with my kids. Since I didn't have a good example to follow, I second-guessed myself a lot. My young child was behaving badly today. He kept going into the bathroom and playing in the water, then filling containers and spilling them. We have tile throughout the house and water makes it slippery. I made him clean up his mess repeatedly and told him to stay out of the water. He has a water table outside to play with, but wet floors are a hazard. Sure enough, when I was doing laundry, I heard my daughter, toddler, start crying. I rushed to her and the floor was wet, and she was flat on her back with a big bump forming on her head. My son had been playing with water again the second I turned my back. I put him in his room for timeout, and after, I told him he needed to hug his sister and tell her he was sorry because it was his fault that she got hurt. I told him that I had warned him that someone could slip and fall, and he didn't listen to me, so his sister was hurt. After he apologized, I sent the kids to go play while I made dinner. Later, I was telling my husband about my day, as we do, and told him what happened. He said I mishandled it, and it could be considered emotional mistreatment. I hadn't considered it from that angle, and now I'm not sure. I thought it was important for my son to understand the consequences of his actions, and to know that even if he didn't mean it, he was responsible for his sister's injury. But I don't want to be like my mother. So, am I the idiot for telling my son that it was his fault that his sister got hurt? Not the idiot. That's not emotional mistreatment. You're just correcting your son because his sister did get hurt because of him. You're just teaching him that actions have consequences. I'm curious, though, how the husband would have reacted had it been the other way around, and the son had been hurt due to the sister's misbehavior. What exactly did your husband want to happen, besides this banal problem that you solved? I think you handled this just fine. It was his fault that she got hurt. Telling him a fact is not emotional mistreatment. Jesus Christ, your husband needs to get off the internet and learn what words mean.